Good morning, Wednesday morning. Hope you're well. How are you all doing? The waterfall is less demanding, imposing and powerful than it's been the last few mornings. It was intimidating. So, good morning, Mr. Devine. It's been a pleasure walking these 90 days thus far with you. You've been here just about every morning, buddy. It's good to see you. Morning, Mr. Burrow. Morning, Clark. Morning, Nicola. Cool. There's the waterfall. There's my tree. Big Sanny. Morning, Clark. Looking forward to seeing you on Friday, buddy. I'm all excited. Right, there we go. There's my big tree. Big Sanny. My granddad. Oh, look at the mess. Right, good morning. So, Wednesday morning, halfway through the week. Middle of the week. And why wait till we hit rock bottom? A question I've always asked. I've asked myself, I've been involved in recovery work since probably, I don't know, 1993 or something like that, in different terms, in different ways, and I've been around it personally and indeed at different levels of work that I've participated in the field of addiction for probably 26, 25 years or something like that. And a question that's always puzzled me is, why do we wait? Good morning, George. Good morning, Clark. Good morning, Karine. Why do we wait until we hit rock bottom before we have an awakening, if you like, whatever that might be? Why do we wait until our toothache gets so bad before we call the dentist? Why do we wait until very few people in recovery go out for lunch and have a gin and tonic and go home that afternoon and say, do you know what, I had a gin and tonic at lunchtime and that's it, I'm giving it up? Why do we wait until we hit rock bottom, or indeed find ourselves in the basement of rock bottom, before we start to think about, contemplate? Why do we wait until we've been diagnosed with diabetes? Or why do we wait? Why do we wait? So these are some thoughts that I've been having around about some analogies that might fit in with that. Why do we allow our mood to become so low before we seek professional help, before we seek guidance or look for pharmaceutical intervention? So, the fear of change, the fear of who might I be if I give it up. Morning, Bob. Morning, Hugh. Right, so why do we wait until we hit rock bottom before if we're lucky enough to take that poo and get off the potty, right? So, for me, when I look back over years of doing this kind of work, it's really sad that people take themselves, their precious life, their existence, who they are, to a place of complete and utter annihilation and destruction before they actually sit back and go, holy crap, look what I'm creating, look what I'm doing in my life, look at the chaos and the destruction that I'm causing all around me. Okay, so one of the things that seems to be a key component when you are a facilitator of change, if you like, the profession of a counsellor or a coach that I am, or I know other people that are in this field in a different way, like personal trainers, and personal trainers work with people that have level of fitness has deteriorated so badly that they come for guidance on how to become a bit more fitter, more thinner, right? So the question that seems to come up a lot is, who am I without my addiction? Who am I without the extra weight that I'm carrying? Who am I without this story? Who might I be? What am I going to be if I give up drugs, alcohol, self-limiting belief systems and stories that we've got running, right? Who am I going to be? So I believe that all human beings have a fear, an underlying fear of death, and we live in the shadow of death, right? And an existential realm of reality it's been tabooed. It's something that's never spoken about. And, you know, from a therapeutic perspective, I remember saying to my supervisor once, like she mentioned such and such, does this ever come up in your sessions? I went, nope, this has never come up in my sessions. You know, you've done 100 hours. And in 100 hours, this subject's never actually come up. Yeah, I guess it's not important. And my supervisor said, or rather you're not open to it, or rather you're not engaging, which made me think, is there something in me that's uncomfortable with talking about sexuality or death or dying or abuse that might be stopping and blocking the therapeutic alliance and the process to continue? And that, I guess, is one of the questions that I question around about our current spiritual circus and the coaching world, if you like, that's began. Because whether you're coaching or counselling, self-actualisation is key, and allowing the client to come to their own conclusions. Whereas evidence would show us just now that the coaching world is full of people that are guiding you and steering the show based on their internal narrative and what they know, and they're actually forcing you to go down a road of thinking which is not your own, right? And I find that pretty dangerous. But bringing it back to who are you going to be when you give up this behaviour? So I'm going off on Friday morning, 6 o'clock. I'm leaving to walk close to 100 miles. I've given myself 36 hours to complete that because I'm gravitating towards one day wanting to do it in 24. Right, so let's start with 36. Now, there's some nerves, there's some fear, but there's also, I'm very aware that there's going to be a part of me that's not going to come back. So, the fear that you've got around about waiting until, you know, your drinking's got so bad, right, that, you know, your family's left you, your wife's left you, your husband's left you, your car's been repossessed, your house has been repossessed, starting to question what is it that's holding us back from making the change to get out of destructive and addictive patterns of behaviour. Now, they can come in the form of drugs or alcohol, they can come in the form of thinking, you know, I'm not good enough. Why do people not apply for jobs? Why do people not progress up the ladder? Why are people, well, they could be quite content. And if you are quite content in the position that you're in, I'm not directing this directly at you, but when you have to apply for another job, or you're looking to maybe go from being a junior to moving up the ladder or whatever, there's debilitating stories that we tell ourselves because the personality, the person that we've become attached to, we put meaning on, and then it's hard to get out of that. So people find it easier to make change when they're angry at the outside world, when the relationship's not working, whether that be with your husband or your wife. The relationship's a challenge, okay? And it's easier to jump from a relationship when you can cast blame or anger at the other. Again, identifying with the outside world in order for you to make the change that you need in order to get out of these self-debilitating, harmful and erroneous scripts that's causing you to stay stuck, right? In fact, that's what I was thinking about calling this morning. It was stop. This is something I was going to call about schemas. Stop. So, for most of us, right, we live in an unconscious way. We're following programs of scripts and schemas of our past. Right, pretty much that old story when folk used to say to you, history is repeating itself. Right, when history repeats itself, it's because we've become unconscious. We've become habitualised in our behaviour. And that behaviour has become a programme. It's then become an ego identification. We become identified with that. Look at the amount of people that are just living the exact same lives as their mothers or fathers. Right, they go to the same place, they shop, they eat the same way, they create the same tastes. Because somewhere in their mind, they would be going beyond their self, or yourself or myself, when you start to do something that's not identified with something of the past. Now, if those things of the past are productive and helpful, great. If those things that you're carrying from your past are harmful and destructive, my question is, why are we waiting until you hit rock bottom before you make the changes that you need in order to live a happier, healthier life? Right? Now, lockdown, the identification, the thing that I find really sad in working, I've been doing this, I've been post-qualified now nearly 12 years or something like that, 13 years, right? And something that shows up a lot, which is very difficult for most of us to get beyond, is the meaning that we place on our narrative of how we see another individual. So we look at somebody and we don't actually, or something, so we see somebody and they're driving a nice car, or they're wearing a nice watch, or they're wearing expensive clothes, and we make an assumption that that person is successful, that they're doing well. Or we look at somebody that might be on the streets, they might be homeless, and I actually, one of the times in my life that I feel very grateful was there was a small pocket of work that I did in an outreach project, working at nights with homeless people. And man, it was absolutely liberating, it was phenomenal. A high percentage of those people that I met that were working on the streets were not drug addicts, violent, aggressive ex-convicts. I've met lawyers. I've met professional people that got to a point in their life where they just were unable to cope, and the infrastructure to help them was not available, and the only option that their mind saw at that point was to walk out of the life that they believed that was causing them the pain and the suffering and move into homelessness and become a hobo and walk about in the street. Hobo, I don't know if that's a very politically correct way to describe people, hobo. I think it's alright, I like it. I don't mean it derogatory. And then what starts to happen is within that paradigm of behaviour that's then been set up, i.e. homelessness, etc., what then starts to happen and begin is they become institutionalised in that, and the inability to reintegrate back into a world with walls becomes very, very hard. Now, using that metaphorically, do you have a home? Do you have a car? Do you have a job? But inside you're feeling homeless. Do you have a wife? Do you have a family? Do you have status? Yet inside feel completely separate, right? Are you overcompensating? Are you in sacrifice? Are you drinking too much, eating too much, people, places and things, people pleasing, giving yourself away in order to be liked, loved and accepted, right? Are you, on one hand, walking about, presenting to the world that you are good guy or good woman, when in actual fact the belief system that you've got about yourself is the polar opposite? Now, why wait till you hit rock bottom before you make the changes that could come now? Look at COVID-19. Our world went from pretty much grooving along to the 23rd of March, stop, right? Now, look at how identified we have become to paper money, right? When you've got 200 or 300 quid in your pocket, you feel confident. You know, you've got this money in your pocket, you're going out for the night. The more money you've got in the pocket, the more confident you seem to feel, right? You feel good about having big wads of cash in your pocket. Maybe that was just a child of the 70s or 80s where that seemed to be the thing that people did. Now, look how identified we have become to the external world and the meaning that we have placed upon it. What if that external world that we've placed meaning on was to gradually start to erode the way that the coral reef is? What if, in a matter of 6 to 36 months, that money that you knew that kept you safe, what if that was to be taken off the table? Look at how reliant we have become on external things in order to give us meaning and validation. And what if, something I was thinking about last week, what if lorry drivers, right, were to go on strike? What if truck drivers went on strike for 24 hours? They bring fuel, they bring food, they bring medical supplies. They're a huge part of our infrastructure. And what happens if they went on strike? Now, that thought takes you from singular thinking into more collective thinking. Why, my question is, are we not thinking collectively? Why still in 2020 are we looking at the world, as long as I'm all right, Jack, that's all that matters. As long as I'm all right and my wee family's all right, that's all that matters. What's stopping us from extending ourselves to give ourselves to other people? And the answer to that could be vulnerability. It could be that we feel vulnerable and we feel threatened when we start to give ourselves away. So, some of the questions that I've been asking myself over the last few days is, who am I without my alcohol addiction? Who am I without my drug addiction? Who am I without the status symbol or lack of status? Who am I without my job title? Who am I without all of these above things? And if I were to give those things up that are actually meaningless piles of crap anyway, who would I become? What is underneath it? And you could fear that, or you could actually embrace that and use that as a challenge to growth, as a way to get into experiment, play. What do you like? If you don't know what you like, ask yourself, what do you not like? Now, I've been meaning to say this for probably 3 months of doing these vlogs. There's something about me that very few people know, right? Because I'm ashamed of it, right? I absolutely love classical music. I absolutely am, would I say addicted to it? I absolutely love it. And I find myself sometimes shutting the curtains, sitting in a darkened room, and just totally and utterly losing myself in classical music. But classical music, and that's been a running thing, that's been a secret of mine for probably about 20 years, right? And I do it in the car, but I'm started getting caught now because I'm less independent and people are using my car when they jump in my car. They're like, that was on Classic FM. Aye, right. And I found myself at the beginning lying. Oh, aye, it was because such and such was in the motor before. No, it wasn't. It was because I was in the motor and I was listening to it, and I can be allowed to listen to that kind of stuff, right? So when I started to discover things that Ross liked, right, and one of them is this, right? I've spent over a year of my life in India. I've been in Australia. I've spent a massive amount of time in Canada, North America, travelled America. I've been very, very lucky with the places and countries I've seen. And do you know when I'm at my happiest? I'm at my happiest when I've got a backpack on my back, right? That's who I am, okay? And it's starting to accept that. I absolutely love nothing more, right, than landing in a country with nothing but my backpack and no having a clue where I'm going, and all I've got is my Lonely Planet and my guidebook, and the world is absolutely my oyster, right? I used to be into cycling and BMXs and stuff like that when I was young, and I still appreciate that, but fully that's not who I am, right? Like I said the other day there, we're in a wee walking club and I made a wee screwed up face. I love it. I love being out walking. It's my favourite thing. I don't like running. I don't like weight training. So start to find out, if you don't know what it is that you like and you find it difficult to identify with what it is that you like, when you hit rock bottom and you start to make these changes, one of the things that seems to be a current theme of why people stay stuck in self-debilitating programs of subconscious belief systems, patterns and behaviour is because at the other side of it, they don't know who they're going to be when they commit it. Now, you come out of that, those destructive things, and you think, well, therapists and counsellors and coaches will go, well, start to give yourself more of what you like. And you're sitting there like, I don't know what I like. Maybe you don't know what you like, but I can absolutely guarantee you that if you sat down with a pen and a bit of paper and said, what do I not like, right, you'll be able to start deleting the things that they're no up your street, that doesn't float your boat, and that you can start deleting out of your life very, very quickly. And then what starts to happen is what comes to the surface is the stuff that you do like, right? So, why wait till we hit rock bottom? Why wait until our economical, financial structures, our places of worship, the things that we have put meaning on have all fallen apart and changed completely before we realise that we are actually part of a much larger, connected, interdependent reality where we can co-create a bigger, brighter and better future for ourselves and everybody in it if we start to work together and see each other as just the same. Doesn't matter what car they're driving, what watch they wear, the levels of fitness they've got. Fundamentally, we are all very, very vulnerable. We are all very scared. And we all ask deeper questions of, why can I go out running 7 days a week and then I open my bucket of Haribo's and just indulge in them? Why do I go through destructive cycles of behaviour? Now, we keep that internal. We don't share that with the world because somewhere we don't trust ourselves with that information. We don't trust the world with that information. And all of those feelings of fear and lack of trust are holding us back from unity, from connection, and from fixing the fractures within our own mind that realistically the only people that created them is our perception on the event, right? The disease of perception we all suffer from because we're all looking at something from our own individual narrative and meaning, and that could and is going to become harmful for us moving forward. So, I wish you all the very best. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Thank you very much for listening. I will upload more of these today. And, special moment, I have now completed more vlogs than I have subscribers. So I think today this will be about my 93rd or 94th vlog, and I think I have 91 or 92 subscribers. So that was a goal that I wanted to achieve. I wanted to overtake the vlogs versus subscribers. So here marks that day. And once I get to 100, we're going to look at doing them slightly differently. And I wish you all a very good day wherever you are. And my intention is metacognition. I hope that my thoughts can assist you in thinking differently about how you think, and the way that you're thinking, is it helpful or harmful to your development? I wish you a wonderful day. All the best.